Okay. Whew, that's better. Good morning. Good morning. We had a little tech fun this morning. I love that. Hi, I'm Erin from Girl Catch Fire. Happy to be here on a beautiful Monday morning. Go ahead and just drop in the chat who you are and where you are. And I'm going to turn my screen down just a bit so it doesn't glare off my glasses. What are you going to do when you need glasses at midlife? Good morning. So, I got a fun topic for you guys today. Here's what I'm thinking about. One of the big misconceptions about midlife is that you have this big identity shift and like maybe you got divorced or your kids went off to college, you got empty nest, etc. You got sober, you want to change your job. All these things can happen to you, this big identity shift. And so many people are like, I just have to find my purpose at midlife. And I would challenge that by saying you don't have to find your purpose. You get to build your purpose. Okay, which is a very different dynamic. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So, um, I've even taught this for years like, oh, I help people find their purpose. Well, I don't teach it like that anymore because it's not how it works. Actually, how it works is you build your purpose by cultivating your inner blueprint and following the things that you're curious about and have um, some excitement, enthusiasm about. That's actually a much more effective approach. So let's talk about it. So, problem number one, there's actually two problems with this. Oh, I have to find my purpose idea. The first one is it assumes that your purpose is just one thing, and it's big, and it's legacy building. It's massively impactful, and sometimes people just get overwhelmed with all of that, and I get it. So chances are your purpose isn't just one thing, and it may be very small and only important to you, but as long as it's important, that's what matters, right? The second thing is that finding your purpose has a very magic pill feel to it. And what I mean by that is like, I was this way, and then something happened, and now I'm a completely different way. Well, sure. I think maybe that happens. Like maybe, there's a burning bush in your life, or you have a dream that changes everything, or you stumble upon something that is so incredible that it changes your whole life. Okay, well, maybe that happens, but I do think that that's the exception rather than the rule. So, and the problem with magic pill thinking, like, I can't wait to find it because then everything's going to be different. Well, magic pills don't grow you up. They, if you can take a magic pill for something, you don't build any grit or tenacity or um, courage, or often you don't build the character that you need to uphold whatever it is that you're trying to build with your life, which is why I don't like it and I don't teach it. In fact, we had a client around here say recently, like, no magic pills, just magic, which we love that. So yeah, instead, that's why we talk about building purpose instead of finding it, okay? Because it's active and it requires something of us and it grows us up in the process. So I will tell you that the reward for your effort is the person that you get to become. I'll say that again because you might want to write that down. The reward for the effort that you put in to building a purposeful and meaningful life is the person you become in the process. And that's what we're after, really, is the evolution of our souls, like that growth and that change. Yeah. And I heard something recently. I want to just throw it in here because I'm feeling led to. But, what if your purpose here is to enjoy your life and bring glory to God? There's a lot of people who believe that. Now, maybe you have trouble with the religious language, and I get that. And that's okay. You can be whoever you want to be and be here. But doesn't that give you some freedom and some latitude to really just enjoy your life and to do things with your life that feel meaningful and purposeful to you, feel consistent and aligned with this kind of inner blueprint that you have? That's what we're after. Okay. So it takes some cultivation. So it's going to take us some intentionality and focus. And that's what I want to give us today because, the world doesn't want you to be intentional and focused. Like, we live in the most distracting culture in the history of all time. We can be distracted by everything. So here's a question for you. You ready? Do you have a pen? What do you want to build or cultivate in your life in 2025? Got any ideas? So you notice I didn't say forever. I didn't ask you to come up with what the big overarching narrative is for your whole life. No, maybe then just the next 12 months. Like what does feels meaningful and purposeful to you? You can even say the next 3 months if that helps you. What's something that makes you feel on purpose? What's something that if you were able to do it and accomplish it would actually feel really purposeful and joyful and meaningful? What is that thing? Now, the cool thing is that midlife gives us the opportunity to sort of ask these questions because you're in the midst of all these identity shifts anyway. Like I said, maybe you just got divorced or your kids left home and you're just, you're in some crazy big transition. Use it. Grab onto that transition, accept it as quickly as you can and be like, okay, so what now what? This doesn't feel great, but what do I want to do with it? I have a lot more freedom and a lot more latitude, and my life doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to. Rather than being disappointed about that, it's okay to be disappointed, but so what now what? What do I want to do with it? Okay. Now, if you just panicked a little bit, like, I have no idea, Aaron, what I'm doing with my 2025, that's fine. But let me give you an example. Okay. Um, so this summer, I fell off my horse. I mean, to be fair, like he straight dropped his head and bucked me off. Like my husband recalls seeing me, 7 feet in the air from behind. Um, it wasn't great. And the way I landed was not great. And I broke bones and gave myself it just a whole thing. It was rough. Okay. But even prior to this, I had it in my head that one thing that felt really meaningful and purposeful to me for the fourth quarter um, was really to kind of take better stock and care of my perimenopausal body. Okay. Maybe you're in perimenopause like me and your body's changing like crazy and you're having like all kinds of things. I don't even want to go into it. We're not talking about menopause today. Um, but maybe all these things are happening to you like they are to me. Well, one of the things I decided that would be really meaningful to me is to take good care of my body. So what that means practically is I am eating differently. I am supplementing differently. I'm lifting weights with like what are these called? Not barbells? Barbells. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, I'm not a strength training person. That's never been my jam. But guess what? I'm changing. And so I'm going to change with it. And because I decided, hey, I'm going to take a look at what is, and I'm going to build some purpose into my physical wellness. Like what does on purpose look like in my physical wellness? That's it. And that's what I'm going to do for my fourth quarter. Well, it's handy because I had to do a bunch of physical therapy and whatnot as well. Um, but my question for you is like, do you have something like that if you made some progress on it, that you would be really excited and proud of yourself? Now, if you don't, if you're just like, ugh, I just have no idea, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Give me 1 second here. And this is a training that I just did that really kind of goes backwards a bit and will help you kind of deconstruct some of the things you might be believing at midlife. But there's also a PDF in it that just asks some good questions. Like I call them the big questions. Because if you're in the midst of identity shift, you might have a complete blank canvas, which is kind of terrifying. Okay. So go take a look at this training. If you're completely lost, just go have a look at it. Okay. Um, so what do you want to make progress on in 2025? What do you want to cast some vision on? Because that's the first step. It's like, I'm going to cast some vision for my 2025, even if it's a small thing, but it feels really meaningful and it feels purposeful. Well, guess what? You're going to get to change a whole bunch of things. You're going to have to maybe change your standards around that thing. Like, yeah, I don't really want to go lift heavy weights 4 days a week, but I've created a standard for myself because it matches my vision for what I'm trying to create. Okay, well, I have a new standard in this area. I promise you, I want to blow that off every day. I go 4 days a week. By about lunchtime, I'm like coming up with reasons why I can't possibly go and lift weights this afternoon. But I set a standard for myself because the vision of taking good care of my little perimenopausal broken body is really strong. So I go. All right. So I have a new standard in that area. Maybe I'm going to have to set some new habits in that area too. Like, wow, I'm taking a ton of supplements. Didn't ever think I would do that, but it's consistent with what I'm trying to build. That's why I'm doing it. So you see how I'm building something, right? And I'm also building a new identity around it. I am a person that is fit and strong and healthy and doing the best I can with some of the challenges of perimenopause. Right on. Go me. Okay. So there's some new habits, there's some new standards, and a new identity. Those are all things we get to do along with our purpose cultivation. But none of that would happen if I had a magic pill for you. You could skip all that. Well, magic pills don't exist. All right. If they did, I would probably sell them, but maybe I wouldn't. All right. Here's another idea. Don't wait until January 1 to start this. Start now. Like, why not? Everybody wants to start things on January 1st, but they haven't done the lead up work. They haven't like decided what on purpose looks like. They haven't figured out like what new habits they'll have to build, what new standards they'll have to build, what kind of identity will have to be built around it. Now, again, I know I'm throwing a lot at you. And again, go hit up this training if that's helpful to you. But what I'm saying is, most people, when they have trouble advancing their goals or feel really stuck or really lost, tend to blame themselves. Like, oh, I just don't have any discipline, or I'm lazy, or, and they just punch themselves in the face with it. I'd submit to you, you just don't have a great system for building purpose and meaning into your life. You're waiting for a flash of lightning. You're waiting for God to, set a bush on fire. And does that happen? Sure, sometimes it does. But by and large, mostly it's the day in, day out, taking a step, taking another step, meeting the commitments you make to yourself or whatever. Again, that's not as flashy and that's not as overnight and it's not as much fun, but it really does help you build that identity of someone who is purposeful, is on purpose in the area that you care to cultivate. Might be your finances, might be your career, might be your marriage, it might be your sobriety. Whatever your big identity shift that's going on, if you are wanting to make progress on feeling like your life has some meaning and purpose, it's a process. Okay. And if you look at it like a process, you can always break a process down into the smallest, tiniest little bites. And that's what we teach around here. That's how you build something that feels meaningful and purposeful. Okay. So here's some steps. Ready? Go ahead and write these down. I'm going to help you. I'm just going to give you like something to go think about this week as you head into a week before or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, before things get nuts. All right. This is part of my start now strategy in November. So, first of all, you just want to get clear on the what. What do I really want from 2025? Like, what do I want? What do I want? And again, if you're struggling with that, those questions that I put in that PDF will help you. Okay. Some of you don't even believe you have agency or license to answer the question of what do you want because it feels selfish. We should talk about that. Okay, so what do I want? And then what's everything I would have to do to get from where I am now to there? That's a great question. And then try to, when you're listing out everything you can think of, try to make those steps as tiny as possible. Like if the step feels too big, it probably is. Break it down smaller, 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 till they're just itty bitty little steps that you could take every day. And then that's the third thing is just take action. Try to knock out those steps every single day. Oh, let's see. With my fourth quarter wellness project, I'm probably going to have to find a gym. Well, I'm going to go back to my old one. Okay, I'm finally going to have to find some supplementation or whatever. Got that done. Did some research there, right? So I'm just taking little steps, building on purpose, right? I am doing better, by the way. And then don't forget that one step might be just to visualize the outcome that you're going for every day, like to see it done and say thank you. That might be another step. Okay. So this is the beginning of building on purpose. And why don't you start now? Right? Don't wait till January 1. Start now. It's November. It's November 18th today. You have all this time to start building in some rhythm and some habits, and you can do them all the way through the holidays. Of course, what most people do is they wait until January 1. And then they're just, to me, it feels like playing catch up. No, no, start figuring this stuff out now. One step might be to keep coming to this little mindset meeting on Monday mornings or watch it later whenever you can, because we're here to encourage you to get stuff done. Because, guys, this ain't no dress rehearsal. What do you want to do with your life? Right? What does enjoying your life look like? What does bringing glory to God look like to you? Right? Think about that. It's big picture stuff. Also, last thing I want to say in my last couple seconds, make some progress. You know why? Because your brain loves progress. It does. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a goal set and a goal achieved. Did you know that? That's why it feels great to make New Year's resolutions on January 1st. Because your brain's like, you lost 25 pounds. That's amazing. High five. No, your brain will reward you with a little dope hit, right? When you're making progress. So take advantage of that. Like, oh, I made a little progress today. Woo, go me. Dope hit, right? Start now. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. Have a great week.